We rolled the dice and it turns out we've been talking about space-themed games, like Cosmic Encounter where aliens travel to other planets seeking to expand their empires. Then we'll boldly be seeking out the game Red Shirts, where the first to eliminate their crew on Strange New Worlds is the winner. And finally we'll move the discussion to the Cosmic Cows, and find out why otherworldly visitors' love-hate relationship with the cows is at stake. Later we'll be talking about some helpful house rules, and house rules have been around for so long people forgot the actual rules. But first, when gathering with family and friends, party games are a good answer. Back in the 80s, Trivia Pursuit was the game. If you got a good mixed group of trivia buffs, still a good go-to classic. But there are newer kids on the block, like Wits and Wagers where you write down numeric answers and everyone wagers on them. Then there's Malarkey, which dares to answer the question why tennis balls are fuzzy, and everyone tries to come up with their hopefully not fuzzy answers. Say Anything is a great one with friends or for getting to know new friends. In Dixit you give clues to describe odd and interesting pictures, but not clues that are too easy. In our house rules section we'll be talking about Jericho later, which is of course inspired by the classic Jenga. But it's about space-themed games here today, and at the Gamers Grind we have a lot of them, like the Ares Project, which some have described as a board game version of StarCraft. Then we have some hard-to-find games like Starfarers of Catan, which has some similarities to Settlers, but it's really its own game. And if you like a good time-crunching game, we have Space Lord, which is a tense game you play in real time. And we have an oldie but a goodie, Star Trek 3 Starship Combat game. And you might be glad to know there's no whales in this game. And how about a variation of an old classic, like Risk Halo Wars, or Star Wars Galactic Battle game, or really Battleship. And at the Gamers Grind we'll never force you to play Jedi Unleashed. The first game we'll be getting into is not Close Encounters, but Cosmic Encounters. Cosmic Encounter is filled with diverse and rather strange alien races, each seeking to expand their empires throughout the galaxy by establishing colonies in other systems outside their own. A technology called the Hyperspace Gate, an artificial unstable wormhole, was developed to allow for interstellar travel. Unfortunately, it is a bit flawed, and its destination is unpredictable until you're ready to use it. You travel to other systems to establish your colonies, sometimes by negotiation, but more often by force. Each alien race has its own power. For example, the mind can look at the hand of one of the main players. The fielders could retrieve their opponent's cards from the discard pile, and the warpers could add ships from the warp to a conflict. On the player's turn, the phases of an encounter are: regroup by taking one of your ships from the warp, draw a destiny card which determines which system the gate will point to, launch your attack by pointing the hyperspace gate at a specific planet you're engaging with. Both the main defense and defensive players call for alliances for help in the conflict. Both players plan their tactics by laying down an encounter card face down. Both players reveal their encounter cards at the same time. And finally, resolution. Determine who won the conflict or if a deal needs to be made. Once the current player activates the hyperspace gate by flipping the destiny card, they enter their side of the gate and target which planet in the system they are attacking. Both sides call for alliances to help fend off invaders, get on the planet for their help, or receive the spoils awards in the form of additional cards or regaining ships lost to the warp. Both main players lock in their tactics by playing their encounter cards face down and then revealing them simultaneously. If both players play an attack card, they add any reinforcement cards that were also played and the amount of ships on the gate or from the planets that's being attacked. The side with the highest total value wins, and the loser ships are lost to the warp. If one player plays an attack card and the other a negotiate card, the player that played the attack card wins, but the player that played the negotiate card collects compensation. If both sides played a negotiate card, they have a minute to negotiate a deal, or both sides lose 3 ships to the warp. Other cards the player may have in their possession are the artifact card, which might negate an alien power, or a card played, or even eliminate or release some ships from the warp. Flare cards, which have a wild effect, have abilities similar to the alien races that they're named for. The flare cards also have a super version. The super versions are only used by the alien races named on the card. The winner of Cosmic Encounter is the first to have 5 colonies on planets outside of their own system. Now that you had your first Cosmic Encounter, let's journey further into
space. The final frontier. Whoosh. These are the voyages of Richards. On mission 2, discover hazardous new planets. To contact psychotic civilizations. To boldly eliminate your crew like no other captain has done before. Bush. 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 Whoosh. To win red shirts, you must be...
Excuse me. To win red shirts, you must be the first captain to eliminate all your red shirts on your away team. In a 2-player game, you start with 5 red shirts. In a 3-player game, you start with 4 red shirts. And with 4 more players, you start with 3 red shirts each. Most red shirts at least have one skill. There is diplomacy, tactical, engineering, science, infiltration, medical, and some have multiple skills. And of course, the Will Wheaton card has every skill in the game, apparently including the ability to post on Facebook what beer he's drinking at the moment. Oops, sorry, that's not the Will Wheaton card, that's the Kesley Washer card. And then there are 4 types of Captain's Logs cards. There's the mission cards, the event cards, location cards, and the equipment cards. Missions also have skill icons on them. The green skill icons on the left are mission requirements for a successful mission, and if there are any red icons on the right, those are the prerequisite skills the red shirt needs to even attempt the mission in the first place. On the bottom of the card, it shows the results if you succeed or fail the mission. Of course, you're trying to fail. Location cards are played on the away team and last until it's replaced by a new location card. Many location cards will give or take away skills, but others will have other effects, such as the planet of the beautiful utopian and no way suspicious woman, where you lose 1 male red shirt at the end of every turn. And with event cards, something unexpected happens during a mission, and they could usually be played at any time, and usually last until the end of the turn. Finally, equipment cards give your red shirt skills. They may be played by you, or your opponent may play them on your red shirts. During your turn, you first unzap. A card that has been zapped has simply been turned sideways from being used on a previous turn. There are other card games, they just call this tapping. And then you could play cards. You could play mission cards on any player, including yourself, that doesn't already have a mission. You then choose which red shirt you want to go on the mission. You zap it, or turn it sideways. So let's say Lieutenant Tiberius is attempting to defend the truce zone from the Klingon. Tiberius has a tactical skill, so he fulfills the prerequisite for the mission. But to be successful, he also needs a diplomacy skill, which he doesn't have. So if no other cards are played, he fails gloriously. But wait, another player just played the Universal Translator on him. He just might accomplish the mission with his newfound diplomacy skill. But then Tiberius discovers a Berg combat base, and he and the entire away team lose any diplomacy skill they may have. So he fails after all, and for failing mission, he of course dies. But Tiberius is a show-off apparently. So when Tiberius dies, he takes another red shirt with him of his choice. But on this mission, any other player that used a card on you this turn also loses 1 red shirt. If the mission was a success, they would have drawn 2 cards. The first player to run out of all their red shirts is the winner. Fans of Star Trek and people that play the game Munchkin will get a kick out of this one. But now let's bring things down to earth. Since we started with Cosmic Encounter, we'll go ahead and end with Cosmic Cows. Some believe we've been visited by otherworldly creatures for years, and for some reason, apparently they had a bit of an obsession with our cows. Cosmic Cow is a simple but familiar dice game with a bit of a twist. 2 alien races are fighting over Earth's cows. They attempt to try to beam these hapless heifers up to their ships, and the poor agonizing Angus is caught in a tug of war between 2 alien ships. The cows start in the middle of the board on their grassy pastures. Each player or team has 5 matching dice which are used to power up their tractor beams. The ships have 9 beams labeled as follows: chance, rather it be small or large. Then there's a 1, 2, or 3 beam, a super beam, followed by a 4, 5, and 6 beam, and finally a straight beam, both large and small. If these alien tractor beams don't remind you of the classic game Yahtzee, you're not crazy. Well, at least not about the alien beams anyway. So on your turn, you roll 5 dice up to 3 times to try to power up your tractor beams. If your best roll, for example, is a pair of 2s, then you can move the cow on the 2 beam 2 spaces towards your ship. If your best roll is 3 2s, then you can move the cow 3 spaces towards your ship. But if you roll 2 pairs, for example 2 3s or 2 4s, you can move the cows on that beam 2 spaces each towards your ship. Then of course there's the full house. So if you roll 3 5s and 2 6s, you can move the cow on the 5 beam 3 spaces, and on the 6 beam 2 spaces. And then there's the chance beam on the one side of the board. For a small chance, if you roll between 10 and 12, or between 23 and 25, you can move that cow towards your ship 3 spaces. But if your dice roll range totals between 5 and 9 or 26 to 30, then you can move the cow 4 spaces towards your ship. And as you probably already have guessed, there's also a straight. A small straight is 4 in a row, and a large straight is 5 in a row. On a small straight, you move the cow 3 spaces towards your ship. On a large straight, you move the cow 4 spaces towards your ship. Then, of course, there's this super beam, which is, well, Yahtzee. So So if you do manage to get a yacht or super beam, that cow is swiftly and rather traumatically sucked up into your ship in one move. The winning alien is the first to get 3 cows into their ship, and apparently an intergalactic burger franchise. The game really plays like Yahtzee, but the aliens adopting cow theme really give it quite a bit of different feel. Now that your alien's able to enjoy his cheeseburger, let's move on to a few game tips. Some house rules could help improve a game or speed up a game, but some house rules have been around so long people forgot the actual original rules. With games with cards or tiles like Carcassonne here, if the game has you drawing at the beginning of your turn, consider drawing at the end of your turn. What that does is people can look at their piece, study their piece, and by the time their turn comes around, they probably have a decision, hopefully. For a lot of games, they can really speed things up. And of course, for some games like Monopoly or Risk, you might consider putting a timer on the game. Whoever's ahead when the time's up would be the winner. Or you can limit to a number of rounds by using something like this giant countdown die. Each time the play goes around, you can alter the die. And again, when you're out of rounds, whoever's ahead the most would be the winner. Instead of using countdown die, you can use something like tokens here. And for each time the play goes around, you just drop another token into the bucket. In either method, you want to keep track who went first. At the Gamer's Garden, we got Jericho. It's kind of a Jenga clone. It's made by a company in the UK, and it has marbles in the game. In a normal game, what the marbles do, if you're the player that pulls the marble out, then you have to take another turn. But an optional way to play would be to hang on to the marble, and then you can give it to another player at any point in the game, and forcing them to go again. For Jericho, you also need to determine who's going to build the tower. The thing is, the person building the tower, they kind of know where the marbles are going to be. So before you start playing, you either have to make sure all the players are paying attention where the marbles actually are going, or you can have a player sit out and play a certain amount of rounds, so everybody has a chance to at least build the tower once. That way the other players hopefully won't know where the marbles are when it's built. And finally, sometimes the house rules have been around so long people forget about the original rules. One of my theories why Monopoly could seem to drag on for so long is people tend to forget about a critical rule. It says right here in the rules, when a player lands on unknown property and they do not wish to buy the property, the banker could then put it up for auction to the highest bidder. It seems people have been playing Monopoly based on a faded rule from when they were kids, when mom and dad apparently decided to simplify the rules and skip the auction portion of the game. You've been watching The Gamer's Grind Show. The Gamer's Grind is located at 6326 Main Avenue in Orangevale, California. Be sure to like us on Facebook, visit our website, and of course come on down and play some games off the wall.